More flight restrictions today because of that ash cloud from the Icelandic volcano. Airline chiefs clearly aren't happy about it, particularly Virgin's Richard Branson. He's calling it, quote, beyond a joke. For more on what the heck is happening in the travel industry right now is Richard Branson. He's with us from Frankfurt at SAP's Global Customer Fair, Sapphire Now. Richard, 1,000 flights grounded yet again today. Are these restrictions excessive or appropriate?
They're completely excessive. The Volcanic Ash Advisory Committee are not the experts. The experts are the airline industry, the engine manufacturers, the airline makers, the airlines themselves, who can be quite responsible in making sure that we fly our passengers safely from A to B. So we would like the responsibility to be taken back within the industry and not to have a quango of people making these decisions.
You would feel safe putting your planes in the air right now?
Absolutely safe. I mean, I'm flying tomorrow on a Virgin plane. We would never, ever take any risks with our passengers. But what is enormously frustrating is knowing in discussions with the airline manufacturers that it's quite safe to fly, and then having what happened this morning at Gatwick, where all planes were grounded, completely unnecessarily. So, we're just urging transport ministers, the whole industry is, to let the airlines, who are the experts at these matters, make the decisions we make every day in our lives. We make decisions of safety. When it comes to icing, air turbulence, I mean, you name it, we have to do it every day of our lives. Rolls-Royce, Airbus, they know what's safe and what's not safe. There shouldn't be a small quango of people meeting to make these kinds of decisions.
Aer Lingus' chief has called on regulators in Europe to adopt standards that are more similar to that here in the U.S. of the FAA, and put out, planes that would sort of survey the area and make their own judgment as to the threat from the ash cloud. Is that something that you support? I mean, what specifically are you asking regulators for here? The FAA system is perfectly good, and that's something which we could live within. And if the FAA system existed in Europe, we would not have had Europe grounded for a year. We just not for a year, sorry, for a week. We want a system that does not shut down Europe unnecessarily when it is completely safe for planes to fly. Obviously, we're not going to fly our planes through the mouth of a volcano. That is dangerous. But 1,000 miles away from a volcano, there is little ash, and it is quite safe to fly the planes. Air France has been flying through the same kind of ash that we've been told we can't fly through, and have picked up no ash in their engines whatsoever. So, so there is a massive overreaction at the moment. Now, what opportunities are you seeing out of this? I mean, are there some for some of your other businesses, for Virgin Trains? Are you seeing like a migration to those alternative transports, and are there opportunities to partner perhaps with other carriers to pick up some of that?
Well, I mean, obviously, on domestic routes, if airlines are not allowed to fly, then people will go by train, and we can pick up a little bit of extra business that way. But that's not really the point. What's happening at the moment is that literally millions of people are being disrupted completely without reason. I mean, if somebody's got an organ that they need to be rushed to Guy's Hospital in London from America, as happened the last time, and they can't get that organ, people can die. So, this is not really, we want some common sense to be brought into the situation as quickly as possible.
Are you expecting a British Airways strike tomorrow? How are you preparing for that?
We'll see what happens with the court today. I think in about half an hour the court are going to rule about whether the strike is illegal or not. And obviously, if the strike goes ahead, Virgin Atlantic will fill every seat we've got and do our best to help. But I think in this current
economic climate, it would be very good if British Airways staff and British Airways management knocked heads together. I mean, it's just not, you know, with Ash, with the economic climate of Europe, it is madness for strikes to be going on right now, and heads need to be knocked together. But in the meantime, Virgin Atlantic will do everything we can to help.
Give me a sense, Sir Richard, there have been so many political changes and so much talk about what's underway in Europe, in London itself, in the UK. What does a Cameron government mean for you?
Well, as an individual, I try not to get involved in party politics. But
as a businessman,
I think that what's happened in I think what's happened, I think is most likely good for business. I think the fact that you've got two parties representing over 60% of the electorate working together, committed to reducing the deficit quickly rather than leaving it another year or two, I think is a good thing. I just don't think that. As a company, we can let a company can't let its debts get out of hand, and I don't think countries can let their debts get out of hand. And that was, I think, one very positive thing that that Cameron's brought for the country. And I think that in the next budget we'll see some tough measures, which I think that the markets will view favourably, and which were necessary.
You've got a tremendous umbrella of businesses here, and there are so many currents in the marketplace affecting so many of your businesses right now. Talk to me about what a weak sterling means for you, what the euro at a 4-year low means. I mean, how, when you look as well at the cost of bank lending going up, at LIBOR, what causes you concern right now?
Well, the world is an interesting place at the moment, but. I think, and I think that as a business person, I'm used to having to adjust as things change, and the pound is weakening, the euro is weakening, which means we're going to have to, we're in a much better position to export more of our goods, and so, we will do so. With the global downturn, oil prices are weakening, and so that's a good thing. So. There are swings and roundabouts, I think from Europe's point of view, it's in a very good position to really get out there and have an export-driven growth to recovery, and Virgin will certainly play their part in that.
I mean, we're looking at the cost of banks doing business on the rise here. What does this mean for Virgin Money?
Well, I mean, interest rates are still extremely low, and I don't actually expect interest rates to go up, very much over the next 2 or 3 years. So, I'm somebody who remembers when interest rates were up at 17%. So, to be living in a world where interest rates are at, 4, 5, 6%, that's something we can happily live with. Virgin Money, our financial service company, is doing extremely well in this marketplace, and we're getting ready, hopefully to make a bid for Lloyd's TSB assets, and also once again for Northern Rock. So our trading's been good, and I think we're in a strong position to make a bid when those assets come on the market.
All right. Thank you so much for making time for us this afternoon for you, this morning for us. Sir Richard Branson joining us live from Germany.